Hello, welcome to another edition of Retirement Matters. I'm John Zidan, and this is my co-host, Harry Kimes. Today, the subject is going to be how to not be a victim of society, or how not to be the next poster child. Another article in the Beacon Journal taken out, okay, when you don't have to.
John, in our last show, we were talking a lot about the Medicaid spend-down issues and how to protect your assets by turning them into income and using annuitization as the process to do that. I think there's probably more that we could talk about around that scenario because, you know, how do you find a product, or how do you annuitize your assets? I know a lot of people are selling annuities, and you can annuitize annuities, but is every annuity something that you can annuitize? Is that the right direction to go?
Well, it's very dangerous to just use just one term. And what I want to clarify, annuitization is one example how to convert assets into income, which works with the states. Unfortunately, in the industry, many people out there have annuities, and they're going to go, okay, I have the answer, I'll just go right in and annuitize my annuity. Doesn't work that way. That's why, again, I will sit there and say and emphasize again, make sure when you're in the situation you have an elder law attorney. I can't be any more clear. You must work with an elder law attorney. And that's where I have relationships with elder law attorneys to make sure that the client gets taken care of. The problem with annuitization, each state has their own set of rules. When the Deficit Reduction Act came out, and a lot of you are going to go, what the heck is that? Okay, the Deficit Reduction Act was the new law that was put in place by President Bush. Changed the whole scenario of what you can and can't do. Before it came into play, the majority of all annuities could be annuitized, and you'd say, okay, I have a choice to be spent down on all my assets to $1,500, or I have the ability to basically pick up the phone, annuitize my annuity, and the money from the annuities is going to turn to income, and I can qualify for Medicaid. It's changed. We've heard people out there discuss certain things. Make sure you have a Medicaid-friendly annuity. There is no such thing as a Medicare-friendly annuity. There's a such thing as a Medicaid-friendly state, which it's only friendly if you abide by the law of what they're doing. And unfortunately, in the industry, you have a lot of agents that are exactly what I said they are. They're agents, okay, because they're looking for the sale. They're looking for the quick buck. At the same time, it's kind of dangerous because a lot of elder law attorneys know there's a ton of baby boomers coming across. The Deficit Reduction Act created a lot of opportunity involved with the LTC partnership program, which was sponsored by the government in order to do what? Get people off of Medicaid. Get them to stop, qualifying for Medicaid and take care of yourself by giving them incentives to buy a long-term home health care policy, get it off the back of the government. And the concern there is that opened up a whole new, environment, a whole new selling concept, which if you're not careful, you can make wrong moves and the agent's going to go, I didn't realize, sorry. Now you can sue them, but maybe the agent doesn't have a lot of money to sue, and you're looking at 70 G's a year because you made a serious mistake you didn't understand. Or maybe you locked up money you shouldn't have locked up. So the key there in annuitization is each case is going to be different. Maybe you're not at that point where you have to annuitize your money, but maybe you've got the 60 months and you're doing the Medicare you start to notice that one of your loved ones is starting to go down a little bit, Now it's time to bring the family in. Now it's time to sit around the table and, come up with a strategy and then get someone like myself with an elder law attorney and work together to try to accomplish what you're trying to avoid, okay? But the annuitization needs to be understood that each state has rules, and each company that sells a product, a lot of them have to go through the Ohio Department of Insurance and make sure that that annuity qualifies for annuitization. Don't sit there and think, I have an annuity with XYZ company, thank you, John, I'll just flip it on. It doesn't work that way. You can get yourself into an illegal transfer, a penalty, things of that nature that can become very devastating to you. So annuitization will work because it's converting assets into income, but you have locked up the money and have the income, okay, which is important under certain circumstances. If you're single and that's all you got, it's very simple. I don't have a choice, do I? I'm going into the nursing home. I don't want my assets to be spent down to $1,500. Now I need to do a little Medicaid planning. I need to seek out an elder law attorney with the representative helping me find the actual annuity that is allowed to be used in your state of residence, and then realize they're going to be taking your current income, and if it's short, not equaling the $5,000, when you annuitize your money, they're going to use that income with your current pension, Social Security, or whatever fixed income you have, and it is going to go to the nursing home. But if you come out of the nursing home, it's your income, you've met the requirements, you're now entitled to continue to have that income to enjoy the rest of your life.
Well, John, in the last show, we also spent a lot of time talking about a single person, a widow, widower, whatever, and how they can protect themselves. How does it differ for a married couple?
A married couple is very important because the first thing we're going to see, people, the fear of dying, Harry, has been replaced with the fear of living too long. Let's face it. Okay, people are now living versus years ago at 62. People were dying. You know, life expectancies were shorter. So the stock market has a lot to do with the fear, that fear of dying, fear of living too long, outliving my money. That has a lot to do with it, and so does the IRS. But the idea behind it, for all you people that are married, be careful, because this is the number one thing I see. I love my husband. We've been married for 20 years. I love my husband. We were married for 25 years. They both died. So you're lonely. You find somebody else. You have a relationship with them, okay? And right off the bat, before you get married, the first thing you say is what? Now you realize, Ethel, when I die, all my assets are going directly to my children. Yes, I do, Harry. Okay, and Harry says, all my assets are going to go directly to my children. So then they come in and they start talking to me about the Deficit Reduction Act. Some may know about it, some may not. And they're concerned with that they're protected. We got it covered because we talked about it. We have a separate contract and we have a prenup. I got news for you. A prenup doesn't work. The law states, we don't care what you think your relationship is with you and your husband and your second marriage with you and your children, when you get married, it's all going the same way. So if something happens and your loved one, who's your second husband, happens to go in the nursing home, you think that they're only going to spend down their assets, you got another thing coming. They take all the assets together, your IRA, his IRA, your 401k, his 401k, his mutual, your CD, your this, everything. Other properties, you've got other properties with rental income, he's got other properties of rental income. All of it comes together, okay? So you could be at a situation that you would have to spend down or annuitize a large part of your money or transfer a large part of your money to your children ahead of time with the hopes that you could clear 60 months. So the best possible thing, if you are in the position to protect yourself in a second marriage and you are healthy, the number one thing you want to do is get a long-term home health care policy for 5 years, at least 5 years, because the Medicaid spend down is 60 months. Now, you don't have to sit right off the bat and say, ooh, John just scared the heck out of me, and now I've got to transfer all my money to my kids and I lose all my independence. No, because you have the policy, you don't know when it's going to happen. But now when it does happen, just realize you've set yourself up that you've got 5 years where a nursing home insurance company is doing what? Going to pay the premium, which gives you the ability from the date of onset that you enter, you'd better start transferring the money out, okay? Which gives you a little bit of a shot, or gives you a little bit of a chance, okay, to do that. But don't fall back only on that particular thing, because maybe in the process of this going into play, you have a situation where maybe you don't diagnose it as quick, and maybe someone goes in the nursing home and slips on the ice or hurts their back. So you're not paying attention. So you're not immediately transferring the money, and maybe 6 months to a year, goes by, and oh, it looks like it's worse than I thought. Now he's staying in there longer. Well, I better start transferring the money. Ouch. Well, now you have a problem because you've used 1 year of the 5 years, right? The insurance company is going to pay you 4 more years, but you're going to find out the spend down is 60 months, right? And you didn't physically transfer all your money to your kids until after the first year. So 4 years is now covered by the nursing home, but what are you shy? 1 year.
1 year.
Now you go to apply for Medicaid, bang, ouch. I was only short 1 year, but now they're taking all my money, dividing it by $5,000, which is the factor. Uh-oh. Now I've got to start all over again, but I was only a year away from it, you see. So 1 year missing the 60-month spend down with the assets transferred in someone else's name, you apply, it's a penalty. You go to Medicaid, it's a penalty. Your entire money divided by 20 months, as an example, that's only on 100,000. So I'm only a year, I missed 1 year, right? 100,000 divided by 5, ting, 20 months. It's a lot longer than 1 year. You just caused yourself a greater penalty. So what you want to do if you're married is understand there are some things you can do. Each state has different laws and regulations, and again, you want to consult an elder law attorney, but one thing I've seen work is called a qualified domestic relations order, okay? And I don't want to be 100% quoted on it. I'm just giving you an advice. I'm not the elder law attorney. I'm just giving you advice that I've seen actually work. And we actually have, at retirementfirst.com, we have developed an entire list of cases. Okay, we have court cases with copies of explaining people's situations, so they could maybe identify that they're in that situation and there's hope for them. And what the qualified domestic relationships order did was, we realized if we want to transfer money, my husband has an IRA for $300,000. He has to go in the nursing home. I know as soon as I transfer an IRA to my husband, okay, what's going to happen? Ka-ching! I'm going to be fully taxed. It's no longer going to be an IRA anymore, right?
Right.
You can't transfer an IRA to your wife unless you're deceased. But the states are changing and certain things are there. So what in this case happened, she was able to transfer the $300,000 directly to the spouse.
As an IRA.
As an IRA. Now that doesn't mean it's free and clear and you're going to Las Vegas while your husband's in the nursing home. I didn't say that. What it means is his income, whatever his income is, must go directly to the nursing home, okay? He must be spent down to $1,500. And the way that the state allows you to do it, they allow you to transfer his assets directly over to you, and you're allowed to keep 50% of whatever the assets that can be transferred from the husband over to you, okay? The problem is, I'm just going to say, I believe in Ohio, you're looking at, I think it went up to 103 or 104,000. So I like to use 100 to make it a little easy. My husband has $200,000 in a CD, okay? He has to go into the nursing home. There's no way out. What do? The divisor, $200,000 gets physically transferred over to the spouse, okay? 50% of $200,000 is $100,000. Now the spouse can keep what? $100,000, okay? It doesn't have to be annuitized. It doesn't have to be locked up. That's the law, 50%. Let's change it. Okay, you said the divide or the number that you can keep is 100. There's actually 103, but we're using 100. Okay, my husband has 100,000. So I'm going to transfer $100,000 over to my spouse. Now my wife can keep the 100,000. 50% of the 100,000 equals 50,000. In order to protect the 100, you'd have to have how much in assets? 200,000. Okay? What's nice, what if the husband or the institutionalized spouse doesn't have a CD, doesn't have a savings account similar to that? In the qualified domestic order, that IRA can be transferred over. So let's say that that's $200,000. 50% of the $200,000 would be $100,000 that would stay in the wife's IRA, okay? Not having to be spent down as income, okay? But the other $100,000 representing the IRA, that money, if applied for Medicaid, would have to be spent down, right? Which would be full taxable, okay? As you're paying for the $5,000, you know, or the difference, I should say, as you're paying for the difference for the cost. So if your husband was paying $3,000, that's what he had as income, and you transfer the whole IRA over it to two, $100,000 is yours, an IRA in your name. Now the other $100,000, what would you be doing? You'd be taking the money off of that to equal the $5,000, right?
Right.
And you're off to the races, okay? The problem is the other $100,000, let's say the husband didn't have a lot of income, right? And pretty much all the money from his IRA would be needed, you know, to pay for the cost of nursing home. Now the $100,000, that's 50% of the $200,000, she's allowed to keep it. But now that $100,000, she can't have that, right? She was only allowed to keep 50% of the maximum. That $100,000 could be annuitized, okay? Now if it's annuitized, then that means that she has lost the $100,000 as far as getting it, right? Better than spending it down to nothing, okay? But it produces an income to her. And after someone qualifies for Medicaid, the community spouse is allowed to have the income, you know, unlimited income. And that changes in different states, okay? They all have their rules, okay? And most states have an unlimited income to the community spouse. So look what we've just done. We went from destitute to thinking, you know, the IRA's got to be cashed down, you know, and automatically, boom, pay full taxes on it and spent down for the cost of nursing home in order to transfer the $200,000 so the spouse can protect $100,000, right? Well, she's still not going to have the whole $200,000 because if she transfers the IRA and didn't understand the rules, what happens? Ouch! Yeah. 28% of the $200,000 is taxed, right? And now she's allowed to have 50% of the balance, right? Not quite the same thing here. And then would basically do what she was taught. I'll buy a car, I'll fix my home, I'll do this, I'll do this. And you're spending down the money because that's what you believe you have to do, okay? But in reality, you don't have to do that. You could say, do we qualify to take the IRA in my husband's name, transfer it physically in my wife's name? No taxes on that. That's big. That's a lot of money. Then 50% of that, she's allowed to keep. The other 50%, which would be the $100,000, she has to annuitize it. She's locking that up. It's no longer considered assets to the government. It's considered income. Therefore, she's allowed to have that income. You also have annuities based on the state that have annuitization. How long do you have to annuitize it? I've seen one out there that's pretty unique. Gives you the ability to take the $100,000, annuitize it, but it can be paid out over 9 months. That's pretty liquid.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's paid out in income over 9 months. The income physically coming to the community spouse. It's her money now. It was income. He's already qualified for Medicaid. It's income. It wasn't assets. It's income. So now she takes the income and she can invest it in anything she wants because she had qualified, making sure all the requirements were correct. And of course you do this by the information that I'm giving you through an elder law attorney, okay? Don't go out there and say, man, John helped me, and da. No, I didn't. I'm just giving you advice on if you come to see me and my seminars. And of course, this one is the third Tuesday, which is May 18th at 5:30. Also, I have a website at retirementfirst.com or HK.
HKIMS at
retirementfirst.com or reception at retirementfirst.com. You can come in, book, we can sit down, we can educate you, give you a PowerPoint, show you what the deficit reduction laws are. From that point, gather the information. If there's a need, whether it's now or pre-planning, sit down with you, get with an elder law attorney. The first thing people say, oh, elder law attorney, woo, money, money, money. No, 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 no. We work with attorneys that realize if we pass on clients to them, then they are going to give a ability to help you and not be one of those attorneys that's going to say, well, you know what, you've got a Medicaid situation here, so we're going to go ahead and take care of the entire thing for a third of your estate, okay? Wow, you know, or ridiculous fees. You're going to go up front, you know, what is the cost? And you're going to find out that the cost working with, especially my elder law attorneys, is not going to kill you because I have a relationship and I sought out good, honest attorneys that, you know, they have to make a living. But I'll tell you what, say they charge you $10,000 or $15,000, okay, just making that up. If they charge you 10 or 15 to do this for you, and you're potentially going to lose $70,000 a year, you know, or you're potentially going to spend all your money down because you don't know what you're doing, I think that's a really good, solid investment, okay? And that way you're not looking at the clock, tick, 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 and you don't want to be afraid of attorneys. So that's why I built Retirement First, because I have good CPAs, I have good attorneys, I have attorneys that come to the seminar, I have the understanding, they actually have a heart, you know, they're there, and they may say, you know what, I don't think this makes sense to annuitize this. I think we'd be better off transferring this, or I don't think this makes sense to do this. In this certain situation, maybe we realize that they're going to go from here into hospice, okay? They're very knowledgeable, they're very honest, they're going to help you make the right decisions instead of sitting there going, money, 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 money. And you have to be careful because like anything, there's good attorneys, there's bad attorneys. There's good car salesmen, there's bad car salesmen. Check out the credentials. Even with me, make sure you check Better Business Bureau, you know. Check Chamber of Commerce, you know, areas out there that people are recognized for what they've done in the community. That's very, very important in today's world, you know, with the Madoffs. Life insurance, very important if you're a husband and wife. How many times the second marriages have life insurance policies, okay? And what do? They love their husband, so they make their husband the beneficiary, okay? Ouch, 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 ouch. Because what happens if the husband goes in the nursing home and your wife is kind of elderly and frail and she dies and your husband's in the nursing home and there's a big bill and you make the beneficiary of your life insurance your husband? What'd you just do?
Gave it to the nursing home.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. So when you get into situations like that, we review the life insurances and say, that's a no-no, okay? Don't leave if you're elderly and think you have to go into a nursing home. Don't make the beneficiary of your life insurance policy your husband. It's okay if the deal is, I want my husband to have X amount of dollars, you know, because I'm married to him, and I want him to have the money first, and after I'm done, he's promised to give it to my kids or whatever. That's fine, but have a relationship with the family, understanding we're going to make it. You know, go ahead and make the life insurance policy a trust. Go ahead and have your wishes in the trust and make the children trustees, okay? Now the children are trustees of the trust. Now the life insurance, you've made the beneficiary of the trust. And you all sat together, and you as a trustee, because you're alive, says, upon my death, I am going to give $200,000 of my $300 life insurance to my husband, and he will live it for his whole life, and at his death, and he will disperse it, you know, the kids, and 100 will go to the kids. Now that's a trust. That's taking a contract that's called revocable. It means you're making the trust. It's able to be changed while you're alive. Once you die, it becomes irrevocable. So there's a lot of things out there that are not going to make you not sleep at night. There's answers to this stuff. But don't sit there and go, oh, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Dust out those policies. Dust out those IRAs. Dust out those 401ks. Find out, do I have long-term care insurance? Maybe I do, but maybe it's not 60 months. If I bought a 3-year long-term care policy, ouch, 3 years are up. Now I have to go in the nursing home. They're going to hit my look back 60 months. Ouch, 3 years only bought me 3. I only transferred my money out to my kids for 3 years. I'm short 2 years. That's so critical. So what we do is we educate you. We give you a checklist. We tell you what you physically need, okay? With that to-do list, you know, let's call it spring cleaning. As spring comes, same thing, spring cleaning. Let's wake up. We do not have to be a poster child. We have the ability. Let's make sure that we review our contracts. A new law was recently done. We're aware that we used to be able to take, and if you died, you made your children, TOD, transfer on death, okay? POD, pay to the order. Those things that were already done before the law came into play were fine. But now we're seeing that there's a new law that just was passed called letter of designation. Okay, so if I'm not aware of a letter of a designation and I decide to go and I do a POD, pay to the order on death, or a TOD, and the law changed and said now it has to be a letter of designation, and you got 400 grand in the bank and you tell the bank to do something, they do what you say, and they're not an estate planning or an elder law attorney, who's going to lose here?
Yeah.
You know, so you have to make sure that if you have any guesses or any doubts, you know, bring in your information. Call us up, sit down, we'll do an evaluation, you know, we'll educate you, we'll do a checklist. If you're working with an attorney or an elder law attorney, we'll put the information together so that you can go directly back, okay, to that attorney, work with me, whatever it takes. But be careful, because a lot of attorneys out there will pair with broker dealers and financial institutions, and there's a lot of horror stories, and they work on commission and they split the commission, which isn't wrong. They're entitled to do that. But some may decide, you know, hey, you know, go to my attorney, go to the attorney, and the attorney basically comes back and says, yeah, I think you should do that, okay? Because they're getting a cut of the commission. The problem there might not be what you need to do. You know, so you have to seek out credentials, seek out how long the attorney's been in the business, how long I've been in the business, how long your broker's been in the business, and get the third parties of influence. Okay? So that's pretty much what I have to talk about today. RetirementFirst.com, Harry Kimes,
Kimes at
retirementfirst.com, or 1-800-82-FIRST. Seminar is coming up May 18th, 5:30. I hope this has been very beneficial to you. Once again, I'm John Zidan. This is my co-host, Harry Kimes. Thank you and have a great day. Spring cleaning.